Actually, I think that's pretty good for today. We've implemented a shader we've borrowed a shader. We've improved our collision. Hello there. The last place we left off our game, we were doing a collision um, between our ships. So we're going to simplify that and add different ships firing. Right now, we can collide with each other. Um, Actually, I think I broke it. Yeah. So what we're going to do is with our colliding, we are going to, um, with our player ship, our parent player ship, we're going to add another variable. So we're going to add a collide hit, and we're going to set that to false. So this means, so collide is we're in the state of being, we have collided and we're in a state, and that's when we're flashing. So we're going to add collide hit. This is going to be basically a flag for the first time we hit another object. So we'll go ahead and take that, and we're going to, for our ship, if our ship hits, so in your events you can hit like a collision and pick something. So we're going to we hit another ship. And this will not have it hit our own ship. And we're going to say we just hit, true, we've hit our ship. And then in the step, what we're going to do is go back down to where we had our collisions. And this is what I had added that made it wrong. So instead of checking this every time, we're going to use, GameMaker has its own collision detection. We're going to utilize that because that has its own boxes, collision. And what we're going to do is go up here to the sprite and make sure we're in precision. So that means wherever we hit, it'll let us know properly. And collision, so both ships are now a lot more detailed as far as their collision box. So we're going to get rid of this collision, because this is what we used in a different tutorial for more like walking in a location, not so much if you're going to use multiple collision boxes within the same sprite. So like your feet would collide with something versus your head, or you would have to do different collisions checking. But here we're doing the entire ship, so we're going to get rid of this state. So we're going to come here, and if we collide hit, we are going to, so collide hit will be the first time we do that, and we're going to say collide hit equals false. Back here, I forgot to do that. So when we hit the ship once, we're going to say we've hit, but only if we're not in our collide state, because we don't want to be hitting every time we're touching. Oops. So we go back here. We're not we're not currently collided. We hit each other. That's when we're going to do our logic for hitting. We're going to come down here, do our collide hit, set it back to false, and then tell it that we're in a collide state, and this will start our flashing. And so let's go ahead and try that out. Up. So we hit correctly, and it properly identifies when we hit, but it kills us instantly. So what are we doing? So that means we're going through here too many times. So if we hit the ship, we're not colliding. And we're not colliding, we'll hit it true. Okay, hit false. We're going to add a debug here, just so we know what's going on. I use the show debug message to figure out where I am and how many times it's going on. Just want to confirm that that's. So actually, I only hit, according to that, I hit twice. So that's not really. If we go over here, run it again. Oh, that was my error right there. I'm not using the same name. Just trying to make sure that's correct. Yeah, there we go. That's working. It's case sensitive, got to make sure we're hitting just the right. And our collisions a lot. Using GameMaker's internal, we can get really close and not have it hit, and that way we're just touching. So the collision is much better using internal. The other was going to be more for a different type of games, but if we're going to be trying to be precise, this is a much better method of using collision to use GameMakers. All right, so we're going to move on. One thing I wanted to do was add a shader. Let's see, this shader is a generic, let's see, I was going to use this for color change, so let's get rid of this shader. We're going to add an existing shader. So one of the other tutorials I had, we had, let's go ahead and create this, create a shader. We're going to call it color change. I'm going to go grab the code from this other project. And if you look at my other tutorial about shaders, that will be in there. And I'll go over this real quick though. This is a very basic shader. It'll take a color parameter. It'll take the color of the pixel of the current pixel it's drawing, get the new one, and this is where we're going to save the alpha. We're basically just changing the color of the original. So we're going to take a temporary one, save it, and then keeping the transparency, but we're changing the color. So what we're going to do is on a collision, we're going to change our character to our ship to like a different color. So we're going to go into the player ship, and here our torch has it, our highlight object has it. So we're going to create more like a shake effect. And we're going to color this when we're shaking. And we're going to create an intensity. And this is the number of pixels we're going to shake. So in our draw sprite, that's the GUI. We're going to change if shake. We need to create a shake duration. A quarter of a second maybe, or a half a second. All right. So we're going to add a shake duration. We can shake our ship. We have a shake duration, and then shake duration and max and how far we can shake. And we'll probably, in the next tutorial, make this apparent so we can apply it to multiple objects, because we'll have other objects in our game. For right now, we're just going to add it here. So if we're shaking, then we're actually going to change this to draw sprite. We'll do it that way. So if we're not shaking, we're just going to draw ourselves normally. If we're shaking, we are going to draw ourselves differently. So we're going to go back over here to this other one. We're calling our shader. We're going to change ourselves to bright yellow. And maybe not so bright. Gotta make sure we have it referenced there. Our highlight shader is going to be this color. We are going to draw our sprite extended. So image index of our mod X. So this is going to be, we're going to take our current position and shake it. So we're going to take a random position and we're going to -1 times our intensity versus our intensity. Yeah. Make sure we spell it correctly. So what we're doing here is we're changing our position of our sprite before we draw it to +1, -1 of our location. Let's do the same with our Y. We're going to mod X, mod Y. We're going to keep our image the same scale. We're not going to rotate it. We're going to keep the same color because we're actually modifying it with the shader, so we don't need to worry about that. And then leave our alpha the same because we're going to be start our flashing. So this will change the color. We're going to shake our image when we draw it. Yeah, shake our image when we draw it. Draw the sprite. We've changed the color of it. One thing we need to do is count down. Okay, so when we collide, we are going to say, okay, we're also going to shake our ship. If we're shaking, we want to count down our shake duration. And then for shake duration less than 0, we'll set it back to shake equals false. All right. Shake duration is not set. Oh, because it's not a skate to shake. All right. Let's go over here and hit our ships. Yeah, there we go. They have a little bit cooler effect. There we go. We can only do it once because we only have it set once. We want to do this again. We want to, when we actually collide, we're going to set shake, and then we're going to set our max duration. So every time we hit now, we should shake, change our color. Yeah, looks like we have a little. Alright, so what is wrong here? Oh, I need to switch that. Where's that? Shake duration equals the max. I did that backwards. Alright. Now it should work. Shake. Shake. A better collision. And then better visuals for when we shake. Yeah, like that. Now we are going to... Actually, I think that's pretty good for today. We've implemented a shader just for... We've borrowed a shader. We've improved our collision and we've made it a little more visually appealing.
Moves around the screen. I don't have anything to keep him on
so
the screen.
So until next time, good luck coding.